This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'd like to thank all of our veterans for their service, county employees as well as those in the community that might be listening in. Thank you for serving our country. First order of business will be to approve the agenda. Sorry to change this, Bruce.
Mr. Chairman, if anybody's trying to watch online, we're having some camera issues today, so we won't have the camera on, but obviously the audio. The only other changes is it is the chairman's birthday today, so I don't know if you're
Happy birthday, Chairman.
Brian, or
Happy
did you
birthday.
remove him?
Okay.
Okay.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay,
Third.
we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Do we have any conflicts?
Not here.
We need approval of the regular meeting minutes from October 28th.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The bills, I've had my questions answered.
I'm good.
Me too. I'm good. Anything?
Move to approve the bills as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion by Danny, second by Tisdale for approval of the bills. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Ms. Brenda, personnel.
I have 5 personnel requests, 4 from the sheriff's office and 1 from the state's attorney's office. The first one is Luke Kitzmiller. He'll be a dual role employee. He is a deputy and he will be working some part-time filling shifts as a correction officer at the base pay of the $34. And then Jennifer Schneider is a classification change. She's a dispatcher going to dispatcher 2, grade 2, base pay at $26.08, effective 11/30. And Mackenzie Darrow is a step raise, dispatcher 2, grade 2, base pay at $26.08, also effective 11/30. Julie Rackow is a step raise, going to a criminal analyst 2, grade 2, base pay at $28.98, effective 11/16. And then Andrea and the state's attorney is a step raise, going to a county employee 2, grade 2, base pay at $24.41, effective 11/17.
Motion to approve the personnel requests.
Second.
Okay, motion by Tisdale, seconded by Jenny. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Travel request.
I have 1 travel request. It's coming from the Natural Resources Committee for Mitchell Iverson to travel to the land use management, land use planning workshop in Buffalo, Wyoming from November 13th through the 15th.
Commissioner State.
And I had a question about that. I didn't think the committee members submitted bills. I thought they submitted information to the county committee and it went from there. So but Bruce tells me I was wrong on that, so.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I think I talked to Commissioner Sleep, and I think his concern is that it's Rich Iverson who's going. He's a member of the Natural Resources Committee. He's not a county employee or a staff person. And so we're trying to think of examples where the county has paid for travel for a non-employee to go to a conference. And Brenda would remind me of one I think in the past you paid for the JD Geigel and or Ken Hawkeye to accompany Paul to the emergency management conference in here. And I think there may have been an occasion once or twice where you allowed some members of the Natural Resources Committee to attend the annual Foresters Conference here in Deadwood. So I think there is precedence for it. That doesn't mean you have to approve it, obviously.
Commissioner Jennings.
So this is a workshop in Buffalo, Wyoming that, as we have encountered more challenges in working with the Forest Service, I think it's important that we keep our people trained and well networked as we move forward. The Forest Service certainly acknowledges when larger groups get together and propose management activities, and we're willing to work with that. So the collaboration aspect is very important, and that's one of the things that they're focusing on in the workshops. If we're going to ask for these people to give us good advice, I think we need to make sure that they're well trained and well networked.
Further discussion?
And I don't agree with that, so I'll be voting against it.
I think we've got county commissioners on that committee, do we not? If they're too busy to go, I think we need representation. It's worthwhile having them there, especially with the problems with it, like you say, the Forest Service. So make a motion to approve the travel request.
We've had problems before.
Got a
with
motion and a
Wyoming.
second. Further discussion?
Yeah, we've had problems before. Newcastle has always been a member of the committee and that from Wyoming, but there hadn't been any South Dakota ones, but the stated information gives them permission to do those things.
Okay,
So,
further discussion? Seeing none, we do have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
aye.
Do we have any more trouble with this?
That's all I have, Chairman.
Okay, auditors, accountants, treasurer.
Alrighty, this is as of October 31st, 2025. The total amount of deposits in the bank says $36,796,485.52. Included in that balance is our bank balance of $35,689,677.51. And the money market account for $1,106,808.01. Total amount of actual cash is $1,350. Total amount of checks and drafts in treasurer's possession not exceeding 3 days is $1,096,492.55. And cash, $24,356.40. And the petty cash total, $2,725, for a total of $37,921,409.47.
I'll move we approve the auditor's account with the treasurer.
Second.
Okay, motion by Sleep, second by Jennings for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, the 2026 county commission meeting schedule.
Mr. Chairman, for your further consideration and possible adoption today is a revised schedule based upon your discussion at your last meeting, notably moving the first meeting in January to the 13th. And then also the budget workshop meeting, which would have been normally on July 14th, to put that on July 23rd. So you have your budget workshops on July 23rd and then on July 28th. That's very similar to what you did this past year. I did not make any changes to the August schedule. I guess we want to do that later on.
We're still scheduled for two.
That's correct. The one meeting on August 11th, we're on the rally. The rally must be during the 7th.
Well, we don't need to shut down for the rally yet. Business as usual.
So you don't have to adopt it today, but it reflects those changes you discussed last week. You want to adopt it?
Desire of the board to adopt it today.
Move to approve it.
No.
Second.
I think we'll wait till next time. I wanted to see how
Well,
some of these,
I've got a motion and a second.
Yeah, that's
Further discussion.
Richard, do you want to comment now or?
well, I just wanted to, there's, what's her name from the Fair Board is not going to, Cheryl Pittman's not going to run again. I was wanting to get somebody lined up.
This is just for our scheduled meetings.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. So Richard, I think you're talking about annual board appointments. You'll still make those in January. It'll be done on January 13th.
That's what I thought, but
And
I
I'll
have
be
to change it.
I'll be putting an advertisement in the newspaper probably today.
Okay.
Run that 2 weeks for people to solicit interest as well.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Just because. I don't like the August meeting, I don't like the January meeting, I don't think we should skip the other ones.
All right. Ambulance agreement.
Mr. Chairman, you have two ambulance agreements. You have the one that you entered into with Monument Health, and then also Spearfish Ambulance. There is no agreement this year for Sturgis because of the change that was made earlier in the year. The proposed agreements for next year would split the money that was, what was then paid to Sturgis equally between Spearfish and Monument Health next year, just so you know that as well. That's that the amount in the agreements reflects that additional amount. Fair enough. Looking for authorization that the chairman sign both. Each of them.
Did Deadwood, take the one from Sturgis?
Yes.
Was it 10,000 last year too?
It wasn't quite, no, it was very, no, it was only like a couple $1,000.
Oh, a couple. Well,
Yeah, wasn't much at all.
so they
We split
raised
that.
it to 10 then?
13, yeah. And that just got split between the two existing plans. For next year. And they've agreed.
What's your pleasure on the agreements? Move to approve the agreements and authorize the chairman to sign.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second for approval. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Raffle request,
Here's a record.
or excuse me, no,
Fair agreement.
yeah, the fair agreement, sorry.
Reconsideration is a 2026 Lawrence County Fair Agreement. It's consistent with the prior year's agreements. Reflects the same amount of the county allocation. And we're looking for authorization to have insurance.
Motion to approve, chairman to sign.
Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, second by Tisdale for approval. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, now we'll go to raffle request.
Mr. Chairman, raffle request in the American Legion submitted by Nicola Bassler. Got a copy of the description in your packet. For speaks for itself. Looking for a motion to not reject the draft.
So move.
Okay, motion by Tisdale, seconded by Jennings for approval, to not object. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Permission to close the offices on December 9th from 12 PM to 1:30 PM for the county employee Christmas party.
Move request, move approval request.
Second.
Okay, motion by Fleet, seconded by Tisdale. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. All right, we'd like to acknowledge and thank the city of Deadwood and Mike Runge, who's the city archivist and collections manager, for the donation of the display items that you see on the table here for us to preserve more history in our community.
Mr. Chairman, Mike is here as well as Deb Trial, and I would defer maybe to Deb for any comments that she might want to make.
When we redid the courthouse over there, there was a bunch of memorabilia and stuff that Marlene and I saved and we put up in the archive upstairs. And over the years, Mike has helped me. They've needed some stuff that he's taken over and it's always come back in better shape than what I've sent to him. And when the sheriff got his new building down there, he wanted some of the law enforcement memorabilia to go to his place. So I kind of had a little bare spot there when Mike was getting some World War I stuff. So he came back with a present for us with all of this stuff of the building there. And there's some phenomenal pictures there. And I just can't thank Mike enough for helping me out with doing that. And if anybody wants to help me put it back up there and get it organized, I'll take all the help I can get. But I think one of the cool pictures is the one where the dome isn't on there yet. And it just kind of is cool that it shows all of the different aspects of that building being built. Mike goes over and above for the county.
Okay, well, we thank you immensely, Mike, for helping us preserve our history, so thank you.
We cut off the items on the table here. Mike even provided the stands for the placards as well. So thank you, Mike, very much.
And I found a couple pieces to go with this. I've got the original bill that when they put the building together, I think it was $5,000 for the furniture and everything in there. And I've got the contract of when they were doing some of that stuff, so I tried to put it all together to go with all of that stuff. But Mike did a really awesome job.
All right, thank you for all your efforts too, Deb.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other general business, Brenda?
I think that's.
All right, sure, thanks. You may, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we are just shy of halfway through this month. Our revenue to date, earned revenue that is sitting at $909,609.86, leaving us about 7 weeks to try to make up that difference for that $1,022,000. We've got 112,000 and some change that we need to try to earn. As of a couple of weeks ago, I don't see a problem hitting that. Right now, our percentages are largely in favor of us. And what I mean by that is a little uncharacteristically, our local numbers are down in the jail, which just gives us more headspace for rented opportunities. So we're doing everything we can to capitalize it. And we are closing in on really where we need to be, where we need to set the number that is. I talked a little bit about this in terms of a price point at the last meeting, but we're feeling more and more confident we know where that is, and I'll let you know as soon as we can feel really confident about it. We have been.
Sure. I was just gonna let you know, we did receive our September payment.
Awesome.
For both the prisoners and the transport, so that was a good feeling to get that, yeah. So,
Very kind of them.
yeah.
We have identified, I'll call it a shortcoming in some of our security. And what I mean by that is not intentionally to be vague, but at the same time, I'm trying to be a little vague because these are things that affect everybody that comes to work for the county and for the state. And in short, our systems are not as reliable as what we feel our minimum standards should be. Due to that, we started to look at some other solutions, and I think that we have settled on one that is highly merited. Greg and I have gone through a number of meetings to try to identify exactly how this works. I can certainly answer all of those questions. I would just ask that maybe addressing those questions might be better either in an executive session or one-on-one. The long and the short of it is we believe in the system that we've picked. It's called the Lynx system. It is at a cost of $6,000. That would be an annual fee. I have the money in our budget. I've got about $12,000. Our budgets are getting extremely tight, but I've got about $12,000 that we had put away for unanticipated funds. We talked about that in the 2024 budget presentation with moving into the new facility. That is exactly why I'm talking to you about it now. I don't feel comfortable just spending the money, even though it's there, without the board understanding exactly what we're trying to do. So this is software that significantly increases the safety of our people and those working in the courthouse as well. If you got any technical questions, I would defer to Greg. Outside of that, I'm open to proceeding in any way that you would choose.
Okay. Pleasure, Gary.
So is this a new system or enhancing the current system of security that you have?
This is a new system. It is such that it is significantly more, I'll say, approachable by everybody that's working within the buildings.
It's replacing something else, is that correct?
It would be replacing something.
Sort of like replacing an analog system, maybe with a more like digital kind of system, to put it in sort of layman's terms. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's an upgrade.
Well, you have the funding available.
We do.
do we need a motion if the funds already available?
Yes.
We do. So I'll move to approve the enhanced version, new software for security. It's an important aspect of that building.
Happy to second it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second, further discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I thank you for that. What, I'd like to take that as a vote of confidence in the efforts that Greg and I have put into it, and what we would anticipate moving forward, as this is an annual or a reoccurring cost. Greg and I have agreed to work towards being able to split that evenly between his budget and the sheriff's budget. So,
Well, in this day and age, security is pretty important.
agreed. And I think you'd all be happy with the utility that this program gives us.
Okay.
So, that's what I have. Unless you
Any
have anything
questions
for
for
me.
the sheriff, anyone?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't wanna. John, we've got a public hearing in 4 minutes, so I think we'll wait rather than mess up your schedule. If you have the time.
I gotta be in here.
That's all.
He needs to leave now, you guys.
Yeah.
What happens if we start the public hearing 5 minutes late?
That's probably, it's better than, yeah, you can't start it early.
Can't start early, though.
That's-
All
that's-
right,
come on up, John,
We'll
we'll,
put John up.
we'll.
I don't have much anyway,
Okay.
gentlemen. I have no permits or anything like that to, I only have to report on a couple of bridge projects. The one notably one is the Christensen Drive, and that one's always kind of been on the forefront of what the public is probably more interested in. You know, it's been closed for 2 years. The boxes are in place now. They started backfilling this week. They're going to be doing the flowable fill in between the boxes. At that point, they will be able to drive over the structure and set the gabion baskets. And whether we get this paved or not this year, that's still the question. That's kind of weather dependent, but it will be opened and gravelled, you know, by the end of the year. By the end of the month is the plan. So it's coming along nicely. They did a fantastic job setting that. The people at Ainsworth and this Northwest Crane. It was pretty neat to watch them set those structures. So went very fast. We also had a pre-construction meeting on the Maitland structure. That's going to start on Monday. They're going to start mobbing their equipment there this week. They've already been doing some of the dirt work and things like that already.
They're gonna work through the winter?
They plan on having that done by mid-December, I think, is
Oh.
what their plan is. Again, weather dependent. You know, that one doesn't rely on any pavement. That's a gravel structure. We did get billed for the actual box culverts. Those are done, and they're going to start doing the construction on Monday. So both of those structures should be open by the end of the year.
At 41.
118, 111, that is. That's the Maitland Bridge. So yeah, you can see there, that was what from the bill from the culvert company was $311,939. We haven't got billed for the Christensen Drive one yet, but I have requested to make sure we're billed for that before the end of the year. I'd like to pay for as much of this year as we can, because we did cut some of our budget items next year, one of them being our bridges, bridge structures. So I want to get as much of this paid for as we can. I did receive on the Christensen Drive, I provided you with two of the reports that are sent to the DOT, and I think you were supplied with the latest two, which showed it as 15% completed. There was now a third one that shows it at 81% complete. So that I just got that at the end of the week. So things are moving along nicely there. We also have got some work going on the Nemo bridges. I'll have that for you at the next meeting. We got all of our easement documents in place. I'll need your guys' approval and signature on those at the next meeting. And we're kind of still pending some of the bypass type of issues that have arisen for, there's a bypass in place there already. It's Blum Lane. We've worked out a deal with the homeowners that Blum Lane services, that we can use that as a bypass. So I'll have that information for you at the next meeting.
All right.
And I think Tim has got some updates on the building up at the Public Safety Center,
I don't
our
know
utility
if
building.
anybody's driven up there, but the shop's maybe not quite halfway completed. With the help of John's crew, we got the sewer line all dug in and tied in. We did all that in-house. That's all done. The boys are up working on the water line now. We hope to have the water line hooked up here early next week. Yeah, things are going along good. Hopefully that shop will be closed in here in the next couple of weeks and they can start doing interior work. And so it's been good. The weather's really helped us out. So it's been a good run with that. So
Sure. I think Tim has reminded them that they have until December 15th
Yep.
to complete it, so
Yep.
make hay while it's warm out, right?
Yep, hopefully they'll.
Okay, any questions for John or Tim?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Got it done just in time, John.
Yep. Well, good. I will. Well-
You want me to talk?
I just want to make sure that he's not here, so this is his
Okay.
public comment. If you'd like to bring that up,
I will, okay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too.
Next item is a public hearing scheduled for this time for the liquor license renewals, package liquor on off sale, Sunday on sale, retail on off sale one. Brenda, you're gonna walk us through this.
This is the time and the place for the annual public hearing for the 26 liquor licenses and wine licenses. Did reach out to the sheriff's office and they don't see anything in our local system with any of these names for any complaints or anything of that nature. The only one I do have is I'm awaiting the tax payment for Dutra. We have spoke with them and they were going to make it online. We just have not seen it come through the credit card system, so we just will hold this until the taxes are paid before we send it into the state, but my guess is it'll probably be today. So, but wanted to make you aware of that, so you know that, we will hold it until that time that they are paid, and if they don't get paid, that license will be will not go, it's the actual wine insider. It's not an actual liquor license.
All
That's
right,
all I have.
all right, this is the time and place. It's a public hearing. If anyone in the body of the room or online would like to speak to this, we would ask that you would please state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak to this? How about online? Okay, not seeing anything, I'm gonna close the public hearing and offer it to the board.
Excuse me, are the numbers appropriate then? The number of liquor licenses? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
I made a motion to approve this.
I'll second it. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We'll sign it afterward, probably better.
Sure. All right, the next public hearing we have is Resolution 2025-33. It's a resolution vacating a portion of the highway, part of which is located on section 1. Brenda, you gonna walk us through that one as well?
Can I give it a shot, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, go for it, Bruce.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is Cassie Krauser. Talked to her on the phone last week. I don't think she was able to be here today, but she has submitted the request. You can see by the attached information, it's off of the Whitewood Service Road in the vicinity, I think, of Buffalo Berry Lane. When we talked to her, the intent of it was, I think, started in planning and zoning because of a setback issue. There had been an existing stick-built house on the property that has been removed. And as you can see from the drawing, that there's a proposed mobile home that would be relocated at that same site to take advantage of the existing septic system and utilities. So that would be the reason behind the request. I don't have anything else. If you have any questions, I can do my best to answer.
Commissioner Steve.
Are there any problems with neighbors on each end?
Not that I know of. I think the road is either served by Buffalo Berry Lane or this property has its own access. So I'm unaware of any, I don't know. Oh, is there something?
Yeah.
Okay, stand by. So we got something?
So John received a phone call from Arthur Daniels. He was concerned that they see that the section line is being vacated. They have an easement for their driveway, but concerned because it is not drawn on the new plat. And talked to John about it, and they're concerned because they're thinking that this is a new plat, and it's not a new plat, it's just basically showing the vacation. So his driveway will not be affected, but I just wanted to bring it forth so you knew that he did reach out about it. And I will document it in the minutes that we did receive a phone call for him.
Okay, well, this is a public hearing, so again, if there's anyone in the body of the room or online that would like to speak to this, we would ask that you would please state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak? How about online? Not seeing or hearing anything, all those, we'll close the public hearing and offer to the board for their decision.
I'll make a motion to approve the vacation of the right of way, specifically stating that it does not vacate any other existing access easements in place. It is just an exhibit, but.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Flanagan, seconded by Tisdale. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Am I reading this right? There's a drain field that goes underneath this road.
Okay,
That'd be an
we'll
old
take a
one.
5-minute break here to get Amber here and get reorganized for our other hearings.
Okay, well, meet your podium for.
First order of business is second reading of ordinance 25-01. Property zone, highway service commercial currently, the addition of the food service establishment as allowed in highway service commercial.
Just adding it in on the allowed use list, because we have a number of them in that area. This way it'll just clean it up. We've had some inquiries on some highway service commercial property out by, like, where the old Boondocks was. That building got torn down, it used to be a restaurant, somebody wants to rebuild. It's not listed. And it'll kind of clean up, because like, you know, I look at Fish and Fry has food, Steel Wheel has food, all these commercial properties have food, we just don't have it as a list, so just kind of helps allow the redevelopment, some of those. I think it makes sense.
Okay, we had the public hearing on it last meeting, so it's up to the board for approval or denial today.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Flanagan, seconded by Jennings for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Just explain the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is the, I don't remember what the name of it used to be, but it's the little cabins that were right across kind of from Guadalajara's-ish in that area, Old 14. Is that what it was? I couldn't remember the name of
Many
it.
years ago.
Okay, the cottages that are in there, there was a house that burnt down a couple years ago. He's been slowly working on getting that kind of redone, and we had to go through some approval process to get that done. And then as that process started, he said, you know, I'd really like to just be able to move these all up and kind of work on all of the structures versus just the one. And in order to do that, we felt that bringing it into compliance for zoning would make the most sense. So he just opted to do a change of zoning on the entire property. You know, that area, there's a mix of residential and commercial, kind of all in that corridor, so I think it makes sense to that area. He did request it to be a planned unit development to allow that flexibility of having kind of that. Some of them are single cabins, some of them are double cabins. You have a single family residential house, there's kind of a combination of uses in there with the types of housing.
Okay, we did have a public hearing on it last time, and if I recall, we didn't have any opposition
I
to
haven't
it.
had any phone calls or anything throughout the whole process.
So it's up to the board to the second reading today.
Motion approved.
Motion by Tisdale, seconded by Jennings. Further discussion, Commissioner Flanagan.
I just wanted to go over, the city of Spearfish had input on this is correct.
They don't do formal input anymore, but we have discussions per se. They have a plat form already, so the plat is actually already in front of, they're gonna replat that whole thing into one big chunk.
Yep.
And then they show all the existing structure, so I know they're aware of it because they have the plat already.
Did we get the road issue cleaned up on the plat that John May was concerned about? Is that this one?
We can, like, I think it's, I don't remember. Well, I think it would have been a spearfish plat, so I probably wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah,
Was
and
it something that he brought to you guys?
Came up at planning and zoning. Committee.
It was discussed at city planning and zoning too, and I think we're clean on it, but
I don't recall.
I think
that
we
one, I
had this-
guess.
Was it there an old road that the county would have been responsible for that was listed on the plat? I think it just needed to get taken off the plat and refiled with the register of deeds, if I remember.
So that must have been a John Bay thing. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have come before me.
did not want it to have a road.
I don't think I ever saw the plat.
Okay.
I just knew about it because I think John Bay maybe they wanted him to sign the plat, I believe.
Mhm.
So that would have come from him, not from me. So
Yep.
I honestly don't know for sure, but that would have been when it must have, because I think it got recorded.
Yeah.
So he must have signed
He's
it.
accepted the road.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So it's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Further discussion.
One or two meetings ago,
2 meetings ago.
John Bay would
I
have,
was at the
it
last.
was a signature issue. They wanted him to sign the plat.
Call the question.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
It's weird, but I can't show these to you guys.
Number five.
Yes. You guys did have a copy of Dave Heck and Ryan Palmer's write-up that they've been doing on whatever, so that's in there.
One's the layout for Pacific Water and Oil.
This one is a layout plan for Kissick Water and Oil. If you remember, on the top part of the Heritage Hills subdivision, which is the old Pittman property outside of Whitewood. They originally didn't do anything with that because they were kind of struggling with how they were going to put the road in. Well, the road is in now, everything's there, infrastructure's in. They're now coming back and asking for 3 additional lots, so 7A, well, 2, I guess, because right now it's lot 7. So 7A, 7B, 7C, and they will just do driveways off the road that is now in there. Density wise, it still needs to be for all density, so the larger lots, it's 20 acres, and 12.75. And that road is all in, the loop, comes up and comes back out, the road works the way that we're supposed to. And then there's that roadway that these driveways are gonna come off of. They also have access to the neighboring property in there as well.
Much better than where they started.
And Rick's here to get questions from you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What was planning and zoning's recommendation?
They recommended approval on it.
Motion to follow recommendation?
Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, seconded by Tisdale to follow recommendation for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That was easy. Preliminary plat and final plat. Timothy and Connie Green.
This is lot 28R of Spruce Mountain Estates. They are combining lots 26 and 29 together, so they're calling it 28R. So it's just a consolidation plat. They're taking 2 lots and putting it into one.
So moved.
Move, yeah, you mind, second.
Motion was second to make it fire plan exempt. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. What's your pleasure on that?
Motion to approve the preliminary and final plat.
Motion by Tisdale, second by Jennings for approval of the preliminary as well as the final plat. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mountain View Ranches, Randy.
Mountain View Ranches, Northwest Engineering Company. This one, you could approve it, but we probably should have held off on this, and it's okay, we can just do it as a condition. So there's gonna be a CUP request that I don't think comes before you till next. I think it's on the 25th. And it's that one that's kind of a CUP request, but kind of not. So Mountain View Ranches and Northwest Engineering Company has they have the Centennial Quarry, and it's split into 2 lots, which is 1R and 2R. And they have come up to an agreement with Mountain View Ranches, which has the adjacent lot, which is the lien lot. And they're going to be moving the property line in there to encompass some of that Centennial Quarry lot. So they're selling approximately 25 acres from the quarry to the private landowner that lives behind the quarry. And that is for the road that's gonna be going through there. As part of that, we opted to do a boundary adjustment on the quarry, but they don't have an existing CUP because it was an old grandfathered quarry, but they said they would prefer to follow the same process so that there's no questions on that the boundary change. So this is showing the new boundary, but I think you could approve this plat with the condition that the CUP stuff be approved, or we can hold off on this plat and do it on the 25th when you guys do the rest. That's kind of your call. I didn't know which way to do it. This will be what it looks like, but you have not approved the amendment yet.
Of the CUP that we don't have.
Yeah, kind of a weird process.
I'll move, we hold off on approval till next time.
Yeah, I think it would be the 25th, if I remember
I'll
right.
second the motion. Further discussion.
continue.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to continue this and deal with them at the same time.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Kurt and Danette Bowers, the next one. This is the property at the end of Goudat Road. You guys, they do have an existing conditional use permit on this property for a permanent campground. And then they have broken off, parcels for each of their kids. So there's been a 5-acre parcel on all of this. Now they would like to, well, the existing residence, the 5 acres that's right in the middle right here is actively for sale. And then it sounds like they would like to then build another house on the remaining acreage for themselves, is kind of what they're doing. But this 5 acres right in the middle that they're trying to plat off right now, which is their existing house, is for sale. So the question that had come about with this, it meets all the zoning and density requirements, but there's been a change in that Goudat Road. If you guys remember, Goudat Road used to be on the system. The county went through and did all the maintenance, and back in 2025, you guys changed that to a minimum maintenance road. So it's not, you're not really going out there as much, just minimal maintenance. And the county has an agreement with the Forest Service to, do the minimum maintenance on the road. So we're just letting, last time you let all the other stuff be approved, but there has been that change in how you're doing it, because you went to a minimum maintenance road. John Bay just had, his recommendation, don't really know if it's part of what you guys need to do, but he did tell the landowners that they really should look at having their own easement agreement with the
yeah.
Forest Service.
I was gonna ask about that.
So they don't have one currently, but they are concerned about that. They started the process, but with the government shutdown stuff, they basically told them it'll, who knows when they'll get to it, kind of a thing.
And that's why we dropped it to minimum, so they wouldn't lose access
Correct.
prior to.
Yeah. So they're still working on it, from what I understand, but
Mhm.
they don't know when they'll get it.
And that would be consistent with all the other roads that we changed to minimum maintenance too. Those landowners will need to get a special use permit to plow the road.
So there was a lot of discussion at planning and zoning on that, but in the end, they opted to approve the preliminary plat and let them move forward. And they're aware of it, it's in the minutes, we made sure it was in there that it went from, minimum to minimum maintenance and that they should get. But we've done that before and we've never held up a plat for that purpose, we've just notified them that they need to get one.
Well, that's kind of the way the Forest Service operates, but they need to change there, and us approving it doesn't make it right.
Okay, what's your pleasure on the preliminary?
Finding and zoning recommendation.
Approval.
So moved. Follow recommendation.
Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, second by Tisdale. Approval, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next one is Maitland Partners LLC, lot 135 of Paradise 4. It matches the preliminary plat that has already been approved, so staff recommends approval of the final plat and planning and zoning recommended approval of the final plat. Excuse me, so am I out of order?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah,
Oh, that's right, Maitland Partners didn't have to come to you because it matched the preliminary plat, never mind, so Kim Dezerski. Okay. This one was kind of interesting, so this was the subdivision plat, you guys have already approved the preliminary, work is pretty much done, there's still got a few things. John has been going out there periodically when they've called him to work on stuff. So with this, there was a condition, when you guys approved the preliminary plat, there was a condition that the pond should have a barrier around it to prevent anyone from driving in, and that's been completed. And John actually went out as part of his road report that he did, there's pictures in there of what they had done. And then staff recommended approval of the final plat with some conditions. One of them being, John's requested some additional gravel surface on some of the areas of the roads to get it to that 4%. And then there was some subgrade pumping through some surface material that was taking place that John recognized. And then there was still some utility installation with some erosion control that they were finishing up. So those were the conditions that John had said, he won't sign the plat till those are done, but they're close, they're working on it. And the last one, which there was discussion at planning and zoning, was regarding the individual access easement. We got an email from DeVita, must have been Friday or Monday, that access easement that John Frederickson was here to discuss did get recorded. So we have the actual, it's been recorded like was recorded question. So that condition could go away because it did get done. So it's been recorded. And then, so they're requesting that could we approve the final plat with the conditions of those things? And then John will let us know, when they've met the conditions. And then he could then sign the plat at that time. And that's what planning and zoning board made a motion to approve the final plat with the conditions.
Mr. Slade.
I think the conditions should all be done before we okay or deny it.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that, I guess. But I think that probably, there's no reason not to have the conditions completed before we approve it.
So they're aware of it.
So,
But John's comfortable with having the conditions.
He said as long as
and-
the conditions were on there, he was comfortable with
But
Either way,
he needs to sign off.
it. Yeah, he has to sign the plat.
Yeah.
And those were his conditions, not mine, right? Those were John's conditions of those three things.
And you would hold the plat until, for him to sign, so it doesn't get recorded until those.
Correct. That's what we've normally done.
sounds like that's safe.
It's not the first time we've done it that way either.
And we've done it that way a lot. So. Motion to approve.
Second. Okay, motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
And then, one of those conditions has already been met. No, we'll just leave it in there. Because list all the findings. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, are we on Schulte then? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So Schulte, is Mike Schulte and Maitland Partners on plot 63R, tract K of Paradise Acres 2, which was formerly lot 63 of tract K and a portion of tract K. And this one, you can kind of see it on here, they're combining, pardon, I can't show it to you, there's a little tiny piece right here that is getting combined into what he owns. So there was an old 66-foot utility easement in there, and a private access easement. So they're replacing it with the private access to the utility, and the Hawks family on the back has other access. So it was never supposed to be in there for that. It was just supposed to be utility. They don't need it for anything.
Thanks for planning it.
Did the Hoff sign off on this plat?
No, because there's nothing for it. It's a private access.
Well, if there is an access easement granted to the property adjoining, I don't know how we can vacate it by the plat.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue it. I told the surveyor to be here. I'm fine with whatever you wanna do. It's
Yeah,
Schulte's and Maitland Partners, which is who the easement was with. It was never with Haas.
well, it was to the property beyond it. And it's,
It touches it, but
it has to go somewhere. So whoever is the beneficiary of that access easement needs to sign up on this plat. So I'm gonna vote to deny it.
Or make a motion.
I'm making a motion. Because I will not vacate somebody else's easement.
We have a motion and a second for denial. Any further discussion?
So that apparently there's other access for the Hoff.
there is, yes. They never used that for access. There was never a road put in.
If you have a pasture and you've got an old access you've never ever used, would you want somebody else to vacate
Still
it
an
for you?
access.
Okay. Seeing no further
Good point.
discussion, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Forebears?
This one is, so this is that stuff that was the utility and well lot, which is where the, kind of in the area that the multi-family housing has gone in on lot 19. They're trying to break off the utility and well lot so it sits separately. And then you'll have, they're showing you on here the new roadway, which I think is about where that driveway comes in. They've been working on that with John for that access. And then lot 19 is being created because we separated off the multifamily unit that sits there. And then I would expect to see a change of zoning from commercial back to residential on that lot 19.
19, okay.
Yeah. So basically, it's just plotting out what's actually on the ground.
Motion to approve.
They're drilling the well right now. I saw the well drilling on it.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, before we go to this next item, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. And then we'll continue after that. jurisdiction of
Letter of credit.
letter of credit, yeah.
Agreement.
Let's do something.
Amy, I may have you help with this one a little bit if you can hear me. So this is, we didn't have this at the last meeting. We had said that we got some stuff in the bank, but we're still kind of going through it. And this is the new letter of credit memorandum of agreement extension. The owner is requesting an extension to the current letter of credit and MOA as it has expired already. They're adding additional fire mitigation costs that the owner feels should be done. The cost estimate has come down since the initial letter of credit and memorandum of agreement occurred. So as work is continued to be done, there's letters submitted. The attached cost sheet is in here. The one that expired was $663,015. It expired on November 1st. So the new agreement would be put in place. It's basically for a lot of the same stuff, just as they continue to drop that down. Gerard did sign it. And then there's a new cost estimate in here. And the part that was interesting is they put on the cost estimate, no, there's nothing in there for fire mitigation. So it was $299,748. And then if you look at the, find the right one. I think it ended up being, so they're decreasing it, yeah, $299,748. Even though they actually do have about $20,000 of additional fire plan that they're going to do, they just opted to leave it the same. I told him it didn't really matter because we had already approved that fire plan, so he's just doing additional over and above what he was going to do. So I don't think it needed to be in here.
Extra insurance.
It's
that you didn't
just
ask
his
for.
own, yeah.
It exceeds the requirements.
Correct. Yep. So the $299,748, the letter of credit matches the engineer's cost estimates, which is what we usually request. So we would be signing a new memorandum of agreement and then the letter of credit.
Commissioner Planning.
Mr. Humphrey, you're comfortable with this?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Second. Okay, there's a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Well, there it is.
All right, the next one. DMV.
Book report.
No, there's another, you guys should have 3 Peaks.
Three Peaks Estates is next, yeah.
Let's see, should we? Oh, I've already signed it. Oh, he just has the name written in there. Can you sign that one so we don't forget?
All right.
That one back.
One, 3 Peaks.
3 Peaks letter of credit memorandum of agreement. So owner is requesting reduction to their letter of credit and memorandum of agreement as the only work left to do is the fire mitigation. There's a new cost sheet in there, the amount being $156,108, which was to expire today, 11/12/26, or no, 2025, or so it'll expire a year from today. The prior letter of credit and MOA had the following items needing to be done. The county highway, it looks like he went out there on 10/9, so fairly soon, and stated that he's got his stuff in there. Dakota Pump went out there for the booster pump, and all is in working order. And then DNR had an email there at 10/10, and that's also included in here. So Bill Coburn is working with Gerard on those the fire plan stuff now. So that's been kind of a changeover because it was back from interstate that he went to work for the city now, I believe. So he's not there anymore. So Bill has been helping him now for about the last 6 to 8 months, going through stuff. So you can see his letter in here of what he's charging them and what they need. The as-built drawings from John, he has been going out there and checking on stuff. So he's got his report in here and you can see that. And then Dakota Pump, we just asked for proof that the pump was installed, because that was one of the requirements on the old one. So the new memorandum of agreement is in here to be signed.
Okay, let's pay you the board.
Move to approve the letter of credit seems to reflect the actual cost left to do.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jennings, seconded by Flanagan for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yes, sir.
Before we move on to the travel report, I have some additional information on plat 2584, the Schulte plat. I think I was concerned that Brandon had regarding the easement. I don't know if it's continued up last meeting. I can maybe offer him a little bit. I don't know if it was tonight. Okay. My information is irrelevant.
Okay,
Okay,
Amber, I guess we're here to hear about your conference.
I did do a written report, because I usually do those, just so you guys, and that was provided in there. Went to Oregon, it was the normal Western Planners Conference. It was good, they had a lot, there's a lot going on in the planning world right now. There's a lot of people are having, access issues, water issues, like all of the stuff that we hear about. So it was really interesting to hear that, because I think they're seeing, at least that area is, they're a little more developed than we are around here, but they're seeing a lot of the problems that I think we're starting to see here. So they're kind of in the way of, a lot of them are doing, a lot of studies, that kind of, they're spending way more money on how can we fix things versus new ordinances, and there's all sorts of stuff going on. I think they're seeing a lot of the stuff we're starting to see now, or they're already dealing with it. Most of the conferences, the sessions, it was pretty much all day. You can see that I gave you what my schedule was. The round table was really good. I like that one. They do it almost every time, where you just get whoever wants to go can come into a room and you just talk about whatever problems you're having in your communities, and you get ideas and things like that. So I really enjoy that one. A lot of it was tourist communities based, because that is what Bend, Oregon, that area deals with. It's a very tourist high area. So a lot of tourist community discussion, a lot of housing discussion within those tourist industries. What are they doing for workers? Short-term rentals, that's every single time we talk about short-term rentals. And then public input was another one of, where's the border of, you have to allow public input, but how much do you allow? What do you do with it? That was a lot of the discussions, was the public input stuff. There was a lot of tribal basis, which we just don't see that around here. Oregon obviously has a lot of their tribes have very high intensity planning agencies. We just don't have that with any of our tribes here. So that was kind of an interesting to see how they have people that come to all their planning and zoning meetings because they have tribes within their communities. But it's a very different type of tribal involvement than what we see in South Dakota. So that was really interesting. I'm not going to go through all of them. The youth-led planning initiative, that was kind of fun. I'd really like to do something like that with our schools. They try to do, like their planning departments will go into the schools and try to just do it as part of their government day, sort of like, this is really what happens in an everyday basis within your community. So how could you do some student involvement with planners? And then just government in general, because a lot of kids don't understand how it works. So that one was kind of an interesting one. Data centers, that was a huge discussion. If you watch the news at all right now, data centers are a big thing. Right now, we don't have any sort of regulation, so that is something that's being discussed across the board. Deadwood's probably not going to see a huge data center, but Rack City, definitely. So they're talking a lot about having governments get in front of that before they come to you, because if you don't have anything in place, what are you going to do when they're around? So that was a really interesting one.
What kind of concerns were they bringing up with the data centers that we?
A lot of it is power.
It's just power
And water,
energy supply.
depending on energy stuff is all, how do you do those? And they're not going to be inside city limits. They're going to be on a large parcel of land somewhere. Where is that going to be? It's probably going to be in the county. So that was kind of the, what do you do in that scenario, because you have access road issues. So it's kind of similar. It's different, but it's similar to when we dealt with, windmill farms. It's kind of the same thing, but this is probably a little more relevant to our area, I could see, because it's just a big building that takes a lot of energy.
Lots of big buildings.
So that was kind of interesting.
So in Lawrence County, they would need to be on an agriculturally zoned area, more than likely,
More
because
than
there's
likely.
300 or 400 acre parcels of land.
Yeah, and you usually don't want a lot of like treed areas or things like that around those data
It
centers.
needs to be
You want
open
it to
space.
open.
Yeah, does our conditional use, they wouldn't allow those now?
PUD. That's exactly what came up when they wrote the comp plan, is they had this specialty zone. And that's what he was anticipating, like Cabela's or something like that, that we evolved into
So you do
a PUD once I finally deciphered what they were trying to aim at
I see.
with the old comp plan.
And that would be more than likely somebody could, and it would be something that you could allow that PUD zoning district, and then within that PUD, they'd have to show you the plan. Like, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna do it? But that's a very different take than what our normal zoning, I think what you guys have seen, PUDs have only really been used for residential. We haven't seen them for
But
commercial.
Okay, so
based.
the old one that Mr. Sleep worked on for so long, they called them specialty zones, specialty use zoning, and they didn't explain what it was. They just said we'll just have this thing out there that exists, and we finally found planned unit development. It's like, that's what they're talking about.
I see.
Or that's what this, the guy from Colorado that wrote up the main deal back in the 90s. The main comp plan.
So it'd require a change in zoning for us.
I think most of them are doing them as a change of zoning. They're not doing them as a conditional use permit, because once they're built, they're not going. I mean, the buildings are just so massive. So it's just something to think about. You're starting to see some example ordinances. I think it's gonna come up again at our SDPA stuff this year in South Dakota, because I think Sioux Falls has, well, a good example is like, they did the big Amazon shipment center in Sioux Falls fairly recently. But I think you're gonna start seeing maybe that we'll have to make some adjustments to the zone.
Isn't there a smaller one now in Box Elder?
Yeah, there isn't,
there's one in
that's
Boston.
why you're
They
getting
just did
things
it.
in one day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see it.
Is there some education we could do prior to actually having it in front of us?
Yeah, I think we can find some different things. It's just kind of new in South Dakota. I mean, some of these other communities, they already have ordinances in place and whatever. We haven't seen a lot here, but I think it's going to.
But Newell County apparently has one proposed.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. I don't know if I don't know if they have ordinances, though. They're kind of in that predicament of, well, how do we deal with it now based on what we have?
That's what Dusty Johnson wants to do, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it's being talked about. So that one was really interesting. There was a couple of data center ones. AI, that came into it, which was very interesting. I actually think it would be helpful for us, but it's a whole process. Interestingly enough, Jackson Hole, their planning department so I'm gonna follow it and see. He is doing, they call it the chicken question again. It's, you get the same question 10 times every day. We're on the phone, we're spending time on that, whatever. They're doing an AI bot that is gonna be on their website that can answer the basic questions. And so I'm kind of watching it. It's brand new. They haven't, it's not fully developed, but he talked about, they've spent a lot of time on this, and they call it those planner of the day questions, like the things that you are on the phone and you spend hours on. How could we help alleviate maybe some of that? So that one was really quite interesting, especially because the guy from Jackson Hole was who the speaker was.
So that could possibly walk somebody through a building permit.
It could help them through the process versus spending so much time on the one. Now, not everybody's gonna use it, so he said you always have to make sure you have that landline, but it could help counties to have that bot built into their website.
Isn't something that Lawrence County would use very often, no?
I think you'd be surprised.
Be surprised?
You could eliminate the whole staff position if you had a good AI that answer those simple questions. Or
In
not
theory,
add another one.
Not add another one.
Mhm.
Yeah, they kind of considered it as like an additional bot secretary, kind of someone that can answer those basic questions. I don't know, it was really interesting. I think it's really new. They still don't know for sure.
It's progressing quickly.
Yep, and then the last one that, I mean, you can go through some of these, but the last one was the tourism and community benefits. That one was really interesting. It talked about West Coast and Mountain West. You know, they are dealing with a lot of the, you know, caves, whitewater, rafting, like all of those tourism things that brings all these people there. How does that outweigh your economic benefits for the community? You know, it's changing your communities, it's doing stuff, so that was really interesting. And then it was, when I got back, I just got a thing that the city of Lee is actually doing, it's coming up on December 2nd, so I'll share it with you guys. They're gonna put together a thing on kind of this subject with economic benefits and tourism.
Can I back you way up? Short-term rentals,
Yes,
are some people trying to control them?
most of them communities do.
Really?
We're one of the few that does not.
In what manner?
They have full-on regulation. They have a staff member that's all they do is just dealing with short-term rentals. They do have a lot of, some of them require conditional use permits and only in certain districts. Some of them just allow them, but they have to be in certain zoning districts, you know. There is a lot of regulation out there. Especially in like this area, it's very, very much regulated because it is causing that it kind of led into that tourism and economic development discussion is when you lose the community and you turn over to just, like, if you're gonna allow it, then you're turning it over just to that. So it's not that they're not allowed, they're allowed, they just have regulations.
Okay.
So there you go, I can keep going if you want, but
Remember, a form-based code violation was form-based?
form-based is a type of zoning, we do not have form-based code. I think the only community, I wouldn't say the only, but Sioux Falls is a form-based code, so if you look at their stuff, there's a lot of pictures and things within their code, so it's a whole format. Mostly there's a lot of, if you do this, you can do this, or like, they have like a numbering system. If the development can provide A, B, and C, they can have more density. If that makes sense, it's kind of a give and take, so it's not like where ours is, here are the rules and this is what you have to do. It's more of a give and take, and that's how the entire ordinance is set up. So if you want more parking, or you have shared parking, because you have two businesses, they can share the parking, because one's only open from this time to this time, and one's open from this time to this time.
Makes sense.
So it's just it's a whole format. So if you look at City Sioux Falls, they just went through and changed their stuff to more of a form-based. I don't think it would be manageable for county. I think for cities, definitely. Some counties do it though. Just,
Did you email me your report? I don't seem to have one.
yeah,
I keep looking at yours.
didn't I put it in?
Yeah, you got it, but I didn't.
Okay,
Okay.
any
Yeah.
further
Here, you can
questions
take that
for
one if you
Everett?
want.
So just one quick question, the problems that
Thank you.
you're having in the Oregon area, what are the top problems? Is it water, is it density? What is the-
Water is some of it. Density, they've really, if you've been to Bend, Oregon area, and in the last 15, 20 years, they've really done a lot of high density.
Mhm.
So they have their high density pockets and they're trying to keep a little more open. It's not as much of that, you know, single family house here. Or like parking regulations, they're doing a lot of streetscape, so the parking is on the back, not on the front. So you're driving down a road and you see the houses all nice and neat, and, you know, whatever. So they flipped a lot of their regulations to go back to what it looks like versus, you know, having just driveway.
Mhm.
That was a big thing, and then high density. So they do a lot of commercial on the bottom, apartments on the top, and they're doing it, like, you'll see that. I mean, we toured about 5 different pockets like that around that community, and they would have their single family, but then have these really high density areas, but their regulations for what it looks like really made it flow together. So it didn't look like you had this like high building here and a single family. It flowed really nicely.
Wasn't a hodgepodge.
But their design standards are really strict.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really strict, but it looks nice.
So that's another thing that's probably more of a city than county issue?
Well, theirs is a combination because a lot of their, development is going outside city. So even their county stuff was a little, I would say, stricter than anything we see around here. It's a different area too. But water was a big thing. And then the reason why they're combining and doing higher density is they can use their existing infrastructure versus adding on more infrastructure to maintain. So infill.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Our next item is Melinda Wolf is here, registered nurse in South Dakota Office of Public Health Nursing Services. Welcome, and she's here with the County Health Nurse Quarterly Report.
Yes. So, and you guys have a copy of this, right? Okay. So yeah, this will be the report for April through September. My name's Melinda Wolf, as he said. So I'm just going to touch on some of the things that we have been busy doing. Our maternal and child health. So we see pregnant moms, prenatal, and then we also visit with them postpartum and do a visit with them and baby. We meet with them monthly, do education, referrals, we do vitals. We also will visit with our doctor. We also do something called called a PHQ-9. So if we have a mom come in and they answer yes to 2 of these questions that we ask, it triggers what's called a PHQ-9. And it's kind of an assessment that we use for depression to kind of see where those moms are at. And then we either do referrals to counseling or connect with their doctor. So that's our kind of our prenatal program wrapped in a shell. We still do the safe sleep education. So every pregnant mom that comes in at 28 weeks to 32 weeks, we do what's called a safe sleep assessment. So we're still seeing, sleep-related deaths, co-sleeping, stuff like that. So everybody gets the same education. And what it does is we focus on what's called the ABCs, alone, back, crib. So we assess whether or not those moms have a safe sleep space for their babies that are going to be born. If we evaluate that they do not have a safe sleep space, we can provide pack and plays and little cribettes for them. We just got some smaller cribette units because we do have some families that are living in hotels and stuff like that. So if they don't have a lot of space, we can give them a little cribette for that. So that's kind of our pregnancy care program. We're still offering fluoride varnish. We provide ASQs and ASQSEs, which is a social, emotional, developmental screening for kids above 2 months old. So if we have parents interested in that, we do that assessment, we evaluate them, and then if they score a certain score, we refer them on to the Birth to 3 program in our local area. Or if they're above 4 years old, they get referred to their school district for further speech, possibly speech, stuff like that. So we're still doing those. Vaccinations are still a big thing. I just completed about 11 flu clinics in October for the Northern Hills County, state. I participated in a closed pod for the Spearfish School District. We did about 98 flu vaccines that day for the Spearfish School District. So, and what else? Public health preparedness, LEPC. I've been enjoying those meetings. I've been going to those and enjoying those. You guys have a great LEPC group. I mean, the people that and the participation is amazing compared to some of the other districts that I attend. So I think that's it. Do you guys have any questions for me?
You mentioned in here in your report that you did measles.
Yes.
How many takers did you have on that? Because that seems to be an issue of unvaccinated kids.
How many what?
Takers did you have on?
We didn't have a lot for Lawrence County. We did have one case in Sturgis of a measles, somebody who had an outbreak of measles, but they were able to get that family vaccinated right away, and we haven't had any further cases. So we actually have a pretty good coverage rate for the school system. because I do the audit, the school audit for the school district, and Lawrence County was above we kind of like it above 85%. I did have a couple counties that were below that we tried to contact people to get them vaccinated, but we did have some adults come in and get that MMR and stuff, and we did have some children, but it wasn't, I think Lawrence County has got a pretty good coverage rate right now, which is good.
And is that the same for pertussis, or are we?
Pertussis is good too. I mean, the DTaP, we are seeing a little bit of a decline in vaccinations, people wanting to do a delayed schedule maybe. So we're seeing a little more of that. So, you kind of wait to see what it's going to look like forecasting. But right now we still have the doctors and everything around here are amazing at getting those vaccinations at the 2, 4, and 6 month for that diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. So far, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Anything else?
And if you had measles when you were a little kid, you don't need to worry about it.
That is
right?
correct. Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
All right, any further questions?
I have a
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the answer, but the health agreement. Do you know when that will be made available for us to sign?
The contract.
Yeah.
I don't.
That
I know Wade is
okay.
working on
I
that.
just thought
Yeah.
I'd ask, maybe you knew, but
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Wade.
Yep. He's been working on those, getting those ready for the
Okay,
next
so he
year.
is working on that.
Yep,
Okay,
I believe
perfect.
so. Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you
Wade.
guys for
Thanks
all
for
your
your time.
support.
Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it. So.
It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
There's a couple more things we need to sign.
Okay. We are ready for the auditor.
He's right there.
There he is.
There that.
Perfect
Sir,
timing.
you have the floor.
I have to visit with the treasurer a little bit. Otherwise, I'd have been in there already.
Well, we just got ready. for it.
Okay, well, good.
Just like perfect timing.
Good. All right. I'm Al Schaefer, Department of Legislative Audit. We've just completed the calendar year 2023 and 24 audit. Just the purpose of the meeting is kind of go over our findings that we had, and there's just a couple minor things that we came across that we felt the board should be aware of. You should have 2 letters that are on our letterhead. And the one we'll definitely discuss is the one called the management letter. That's it starts with in planning and performing our audit. And what that letter kind of just, we talk about in that letter what deficiencies of internal control are, violations of laws and stuff. The part where we're going to discuss is probably the middle of the second page there. We had no deficiencies in internal controls, which were material weaknesses, which would have been written comments that if we'd had anything. Same thing, we didn't have any material violations of laws or grant agreements or anything like that, which would also be written comments. And then internal controls, we had no problems with anything that we felt would be just minor things that would be an oral comment either. We did have a couple immaterial violations of laws that we want to go over with you. And that first one, the county makes a motion in January to assign fund balance in the general fund. The law basically says, at any point in time, you're not supposed to have 40%. We tested on December 31st. And when you don't make that motion until January to assign those funds, really at December 31st, technically they're not assigned. And so possibly, if we back those off, you probably could be in violation of the 40%. It's just kind of, and we talked to Brenda a little bit about it. It's just a guess. It doesn't have to be perfect that you have right at 40% or, just so that, you're under that 40%. So, in December, kind of just doing an analysis and try to get those things done before the first of the year. And the other thing we had is the county writes off uncashed checks usually once a year. Well, there's 2 laws on the book that talk about writing off old outstanding checks. The one that talks about after 1 year is the one where you're supposed to then turn them over to unclaimed property in beer. But then there's another law in the books that says that after 2 years, you can write them off don't have to send them to unclaimed property. And then there's a second law that says if they're presented within 6 years, you have to pay it. But then after that, it's the discretion of the board if somebody turned one in after 6 years. Since I know you guys had problems with turning stuff over to unclaimed property and trying to get something back at one point in time, and your legal person can tell you or what, stuff, but there's that other option on the board. So if you want to write them off and not turn them over, there is that other law there, but you just have to wait for 2 years to do it. They have to be 2 years old before you can do it. And the funds stay there. Yep, you bet. So, and a lot of counties follow that 2-year law and stuff. So that's an option for you guys out there and stuff. So definitely the 1 year, if you do that, then you're kind of in violation of not turning them over to unclaimed. So just kind of look at that and consider maybe doing something different with that. So those are the only 2 things that we had. It was a clean
Nice
audit.
job, kid.
Yeah, she does it. Brenda does a good job. And I appreciated all the help that we got from Brenda and from Deb's offices. I mean, it seems like sometimes we'd ask for something and we almost had it before we asked for it. They're that quick in turning things around. And then we also looked at the sheriff's office. They're very cooperative out there too, with, going over things and stuff with us. So one of the things, we do when we come to do these audits is to give an opinion on the financial statements. And on your basic financial statements, we do what we call an unmodified opinion, which basically says the financial statements present fairly the financial position of the county. The government-wide statements, which is another set of statements, we do an unmodified opinion on that because you guys have the Lawrence County Housing and Redevelopment Commission that is technically a part of your reporting entity. And they're on a different fiscal year and they do accrual statements. And it's just to be a pain in the backside to try to put that information into your statements. And so basically it says your government-wide statements also present fairly, except it's missing that information and stuff. So that is basically all I have. I have the letter. Oh, I guess I should talk about this other letter. This other letter that I sent you too. It's called the letter in charge of those in charge of governance. It's basically the letter that we required by auditing standards that we communicate certain things to you guys, and that's what this letter is kind of doing. We've had no problems with it talks about we discussed any immaterial or audit adjustments and stuff with Brenda and went over those and stuff. So we had no problems with her agreeing to what we say are our accounting principles and stuff. So so we I had no problem with that. So
we will need a motion for you to be able to sign this letter.
Representation letter.
Yep.
To the Department of Labor.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, seconded by Mr. Jennings. Any further discussion?
So I just want to comment that this, nothing against the auditor's department, but this is a really boring report to read because it's all no significant disagreements. You kind of think, what do we find? And there was nothing. So I commend Brenda Magruder, our auditor, for doing such a great job because it would be more interesting to read, but it's more comforting to read.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
and if you want to, Brenda, you can just scan that signed letter and then email it to me. So
All right.
unless you guys have any questions, that's all I've got for this go around.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate being able to serve you guys with this service and stuff, and we'll have some new people taking over next time.
I'm just gonna bring that up. And I do the things because I have a great team to work with. Bruce, treasurer, everybody. So, I mean, I couldn't do it without them and your guys' support. And Al was retiring on June 8th,
Yep.
of 26, so this was his last
Yep.
audit with us. We've been
And then
together. Well, I've worked here for 34 years. He's been doing it prior to that
Yeah.
when I came in, so we spent a lot of
Yeah.
years together. So both him and Bruce are retiring on the same
on the
day.
same day, yep, so, yeah, so it'll be Madison and Hunter are taking over out here. They're in the training right now and stuff, so. And Madison helped out in this one a little bit and stuff too, so she's got familiar with you guys a little bit, so. You bet.
Enjoy your retirement.
I will do that. All
Yeah.
right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Al.
Uh-huh.
We are down to items from the public. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak to the board? No, Sarah? Is there anyone online that would like to address the board this morning? Okay, we will close that and we have items from the commissioners. Morning. Doesn't look like
I
it.
just, I might just throw out that the Association of County Commissions are continuing to look at the proposed property tax changes. We'll be meeting on that tonight on one of the changes for the discretionary fund. So there's a lot going on there. We'll keep an eye on it, but we might have to ask the board for some support on that. Association of County Commissioners.
All right. If there isn't anything else, I would welcome a motion to adjourn. Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Turn the recording off now.